It's going to be a really fast video. This is the board from that AC30 custom that you saw the other day, the C2, that came in with all the missing parts and reverb tank and the miswired speakers and the non-functioning normal channel. So I've got the majority of that corrected, and I've done the majority of the changes I'm going to make. I'm still waiting for some caps to arrive, hopefully Monday, Tuesday. And I removed the 500K master volume pot. The owner of this amp is not intending to use the master volume. So I'm going to put a 1 meg in here, which means that that's twice the resistance from side to side on the output. When it's on 10, it's essentially out of the circuit. Turn it down, you won't hear any change till you get to about 2 o'clock. Below 2 o'clock, it'll work like a stock master volume, so it'll still be there. Turn it to 10, it's gone. If I thought it was worth the hassle, I would put in a 16 millimeter push-pull pot here. So pot in, no master volume, pull the pot out, there's a master volume. And if there was a tonal benefit to doing that, I would spend the extra $3, but there's not. So I'm just gonna put a 1 meg pot here, it'll be fine. I corrected his butchery on the normal channel. The guy had bypassed the effects loop and reverb circuitry in this amp with some really ugly beneath the board stuff with some hot glue. That's all gone. I'm going to restore the function of the loop and the reverb, but I'm going to make the changes which I mentioned in the previous custom AC30C series videos, where I will put this loop to unity gain. These are very high quality op amps. These are not what you find in a tube screamer. They run at a very high rail-to-rail voltage. They're very transparent, low noise ratio. It's essentially transparent. I've verified that by having AB switches hooked up, wires coming out of everywhere with a switch, and bypassed all that stuff. And you cannot hear or measure a difference once this loop and reverb circuitry is set to true unity gain. So that's good. The other thing the guy did was he installed a choke instead of this resistor here, but he used the wrong choke for an AC30. It did not have the proper inductance and was not rated for the right amount of current. So I've removed the choke and I'm putting the resistor back. And someday I may do a long video about power circuitry design, the power design. But in a nutshell, a resistor is great for doing a voltage drop and for decoupling stages. A choke does the same thing, but a choke also filters out ripple from the rectification, which is riding on the DC. A resistor does the voltage drop, but barely affects the amount of ripple unless you just have a huge value, which you don't want. So if you have a choke, and it's the proper choke for the amp model, you need less filtering. If you have a resistor, you need more filtering. But if you have a choke and more filtering, the entire amp response gets too stiff and modern sounding. It doesn't sound or behave like an AC30. So you can either use a choke with lower filtering. This is 100 microfarad and 47 microfarad. Or you can use the resistor and make up for the lack of filtering from the resistor itself by using more capacitance. And this 47, this 100 in a JMI would be 16 and 16. Most modern amps would be 22-22. You're not going to hear much difference between 16 and 22. If you have a choke with all that ripple rejection, you will hear a huge difference between 16 and 100, between 16 and 47. The preamp nodes I am going to change from the ladder circuit to a tree branch schematic. I've discussed that in previous AC30C series videos. So when the owner gets this back, it will have this resistor here, but it will behave much like the JMI, and the choke that was put in here would have failed at some point just due to its inadequate current handling.